Hello everyone, welcome back to String and Story. My name is HollyAnne Knight and it's my job to guide you to quilt and to live with confidence. Guys, I know this is a bit of an unusual view that you can only see my hands, but it's the best way I have for you tonight to see what we're going to be doing as we make tri-recs, also known as triangle in a square, units without either a specialty ruler or an AccuQuilt. Now, I'm going to give you guys just a hot second to hop on with me and fiddle with my light a little bit while we wait. But just a reminder that if you are watching this in relatively real time, that our Dogwood Blossoms Quilt Along is kicking off right now. We officially kicked off on Saturday, but signups are open through this coming Saturday. I believe that's April 4th, maybe? April 4th, 2020, and I would be absolutely delighted to have you join us. And because of tonight's tutorial, all you need are straight rulers in order to be able to cut out this quilt. Now, I'm going to pull you guys up on my computer so that I can see you. And if you are hopping on with me live, do go ahead and say hi in the comments so that I can see that you're here. Oh, brilliant. Here we are. There's a bunch of you guys here. How exciting. Let's see. I need to do multiple things. I need to pin this to the top of the page. And then I'm going to share it to the Quilting Rockstars so that everyone can find us. And then we will get going in earnest. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Emily. I see a few of you guys are here. Pardon my reach. I'm going to reach right across you guys and make sure that this gets shared. This is the one real disadvantage of this angle is that right now I have to reach across my computer. Okay. Here we are. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, hello everyone who's here. My goodness, there's a bunch of you who jumped in. I'm so excited. There wasn't going to be a live this week because my kids were going to be on spring break, but now school's just closed for the next month. And let's be honest, I don't really think school's going to reopen for them this year. And today was a long day, but I had a couple of emails this morning asking about this tutorial because I had included it in an email yesterday for those who had already joined the quilt along, and I thought it might just be best to jump on here and share. Oh my heavens, now I can't see your comments. Here we go. I thought it might just be best to jump on here and share this tutorial live. Now, typically a triangle in a square or tri-rex unit like this is cut out very efficiently from strips of fabric using a tri tool and a rex tool. And if you have these tools on hand, I recommend that you use them, okay? They are very easy and they're very fabric efficient. And one of the things you are going to see with our tutorial tonight is that there is some waste, and that is unfortunate. And I agree with you that it's unfortunate. However, I also know that if you are under shelter in place like me, or if you're really anywhere in the world right now, acquiring new tools might be a bit of a challenge. And since this week is the cutting week of the Dogwood Blossoms Quilt Along, if you're hoping to jump in real time, you may just be looking for a quick and easy way to get moving. And that's exactly where this tutorial comes in. Now, this is one that I just made to refresh myself on this tutorial and to make sure it still worked because it's been 2 years since this went up on my blog. You will see the link to the tutorial in the caption of this video, as well as a link to my website where you can jump in on our quilt along if you get excited about this, okay? Now, let's start with what we need. Now, on the tutorial, you are going to see a formula. It says, in order to make a tri-rex unit, you will cut your squares to the finished tri-rex size plus 1/2 inch times finished tri-rex size plus 1/2 inch, or by, so like rectangles, right? So we're going for a 6.5 inch. This is actually the language I've used here is confusing. The unfinished size, so before it ends up in the pattern, is 6.5 inches. And so our goal here is a 6.5 inch tri-rex. So this is 7 inches by 7 inches. For our rectangle, it is our finished tri-rex size. So finished as in when we complete making it, not finished as in set in the quilt, plus 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch finished tri-rex size. No, plus 1/2 inch plus 1 inch. Okay. Basically, here I have a 7 inch square. And here I have a 7 inch square or 7 inch by 4.5 inch rectangle. I'm trying to read the math out loud and it's not working, but it is in the tutorial and you can go read it if you are making a different size, okay? If you're making a 6.5 inch unfinished, 6 inch finished in your block tri-rex, You're going to simply use this math. I'm sorry that the way I said that sounded very, very confusing. And I'm going to not even try to repeat it because I don't want to confuse you further. If you need a different size, please refer to the blog post formula, okay? Now, these do make 2 at a time because we have to cut our Rex units face together, okay? So our first step is from our 7-inch square or your square, depending on what size you need, you're going to mark the center point, okay? So on a 7-inch square, that is going to be 3.5 inches. And I don't usually use a marking pen. You guys know that. I usually use a pencil. But this is going to get lost in actually the trimming even more than the seam allowance. So I've made a quick mark there, and I need to do the same thing on the second one. I can set these aside as I mark them. And please pardon my sniffles. The pollen count here in Georgia has been at a record high this week, and even with the rain today, as you can hear, I am still quite snuffly, and it is honestly appalling. All right. Now, our Rex units. This is the funky bit. You are going to mark 1/2 inch from this edge and 1/2 inch from this edge. And to give you an idea of why, it's because we need this blunt top on our Rex unit, okay? So I can simply line up my ruler here. This really is so quick, guys, once you get these squares and rectangles cut out. So once you know what size you need, this becomes very, very easy. And then we mark 1/2 inch in down here. And my cutting was not terribly accurate. All right. And then we're actually going to cut. These are solids, but if you were using prints, they would be right sides together, okay? And we're going to cut from the 1/2 inch line to the 1/2 inch line here, making 2 sets. Ready? Here we go. Oh, my ruler wiggled. All right, do you see how we have 2 kind of funky rectangle bits? And if these were right sides together, like if these were prints, it'd be very easy to see how they flip open to make that tri-rect shape, okay? I'm gonna set that second set aside. And then set my first Rex. Where'd my center mark go? Put that center mark at the top and set my first Rex unit across my square. Now, if you were making this using your rulers, if you did have the specialty rulers, you would have cut strips of fabric and cut out alternating triangles so there wouldn't be the waste that we're about to have on this square. So again, that's kind of the downside of this method, but it works in a pinch. I'm coming over to my machine and I'm going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance right along. Now notice what I did here. I aligned this point and this point with the top edge at the center mark and the bottom corner. All right, and then I'm simply going to stitch. Oh, my thread is getting caught. Stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down. Which you'll see when I trim, mine is actually a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance, but it is totally fine. Hello, everyone. Kathy, Deborah, I see you guys hopping on. All right, so you can see already how this is gonna flip open, but before we do that, let's take a quick moment and let's trim that seam allowance. Is everyone tracking with me so far? Take that off. You can see how mine is actually a scant 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna hit this with an iron and press it open real quick. All right, so you can see here, we are halfway there. Now, do not panic that this edge and this edge do not line up, okay? If you were using your ruler tri-rex, you would want those to line up pretty well right from the beginning. But on these, we're gonna trim them down. So this is gonna get trimmed off, okay? Because remember, we started with a 7-inch square and we're gonna finish with a 6.5 inch tri-rex, okay? Does that make sense? We're gonna simply repeat on the other side exactly what we just did. Remember, We're going to flip open like this. So in order to achieve that, we're going to line up one corner down here and line up this corner. You can still see that center mark. So we've got this kind of overlapping bit. And I'm going to bring this under the machine. And so my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, as you've seen from these directions, this method makes 2 at a time, which is very convenient because for the Dogwood Blossoms block, you need 4, right? So you'll just make 2 sets of 2 per block. Same thing, I'm going to trim my seam allowance. And then I'm going to hit it with an iron. You can already see how lovely this is going to be. Now, if you happen to have a square ruler the size of your desired block, so this is again finished at the end of our Tri-Rex making, it would be unfinished when it's in the quilt. I will honestly probably go tweak that in the blog post when we get off here. Take that ruler and lay it so that the halfway point of your block and 1/4 inch down, so that's this little dot right here for me, is right at the point of that triangle. And make sure that it's like level across, right? So like take a peek down here and make sure that it's even so that it's laid on here square. And then we're going to trim all the way around this block. To 6.5 inches, okay? So this method has a little bit more waste and a little bit more trimming, but it is great for working on a fly, okay? Ta-da! So you can see here, down here, it is not a 1/4 inch, but that's okay, because by the time you get a 1/4 inch up, there is a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so those bottom triangle bits are gonna be nice and sharp. And then you'd simply repeat with the other half. All right, I'm gonna hit refresh on here so I can make sure that I have not missed any of your questions and comments. I feel like they may not be refreshing, and I don't wanna miss anything from you guys. Hello, hello, I was correct. There were a few things I hadn't seen. Oh, rainy and chilly, Judy, oh my goodness. Hello, hello, everyone. All right, so hopefully that is helpful for all of you. Now let me try my hand at reading this math one more time. Your squares are going to be your unfinished pre-quilt, right? So before you piece it into the quilt, unfinished Tri-Rex size. So in this case, we're aiming for a 6.5 inch Tri-Rex unit that will finish at 6 inches, plus 1/2 inch, right? So 7 by 7. Your rectangles are going to be the same measurement, your finished Tri-Rex size, finished as in made, not pieced into the quilt, by half the finished Tri-Rex size plus 1 inch. So in that case, it was 4.5 inches, okay? There you go, guys. So 7 inch square, 7 by 4.5 inch rectangle, cut on that diagonal, marking those 1/2 inch bits like I showed you at the beginning, pieced and then trimmed, and you have a really relatively easy Tri-Rex unit without a specialty ruler. Ta-da! All right, guys. Once again, our Dogwood Blossoms Quilt Along is kicking off right now. I'd be delighted to have you. Even if you don't have a Tri-Rex ruler, you now can make the Tri-Rex unit. It's the trickiest part of the quilt, so you're good to go now because I've shown you how to do that. And y'all, I hope all of you guys are staying safe and healthy and avoiding some of this pollen as much as everything else. All right, have a fabulous Tuesday, you guys. I'll talk to you soon.